Are you confused by the new version of Hueforge? Let me help you. Hello everyone and welcome to this new video from Free Dreams 106 channel. Today we are back talking about Hueforge by going deeper into the new version of this program, the 0.9.0. It was recently released and the main modifications have been done to the interface, but there are some interesting new features that have been added that we can use for our Hueforges. So, in this video, we're going to take a look at the most important modifications. So I would say let's cut the chase and get into it. So here we are at the computer to take a look at the new version of Hueforge. You can download it in the same way you did with the previous versions, and if you're not sure about how to do it, I will leave the link of the first video in which I talked about Hueforge and how to download it. So you can find it right there. Once we have installed it, we can open it, and as you can see, the interface it's a bit different from the previous one. But don't worry, I will explain to you everything you need to know. So let's start with the biggest difference. Where are the color sliders? So color sliders have been disabled by default, but you can re-enable them by going on Windows and enabling color sliders. If you find them more convenient than the cores, you can use them, but I really like using the central cores, so I don't mind not having them right there. It's also convenient because you have a better picture of your image and the STL. So you have also seen that from Windows you can customize the interface and the menus that are visible on the UI, and you can also personalize the UI by dragging and moving the different menus however you want to personalize the interface. Then you can save the layout, so you can then reopen it easily. But let's talk about some labels that have changed from the previous version. For example, the main one is luminance, which is the mode that we use in our Hueforge. Now it's called mesh mode and it's right there. And the other two options that have been renamed are the min depth and max depth. In fact, now they are called blend depth and base thickness, and they are a little different from the previous options because the base thickness allows us to modify the thickness of the base, so the part before the Hueforge, while the blend depth allow us to thicken only the Hueforge part, only the part where we put every filament needed for our picture. So it's more convenient than before, because before we had to increase both the min and max depth by the same thickness. It was a bit of a pain, but it's it's faster this way. Now let's talk about these little icons that have appeared, because color match has really been improved with this version. In fact, now with these arrows we can simply copy the filaments from the mesh core to the color core and vice versa. For example, you can see that if I put some different colors right there, I can simply click on this icon and the all the colors will be copied to the color core. Now I can also select some filaments and with the right click copy, cut or invert the selection. And if I enable this lock, everything I do on one side will be also transferred to the other side. So it's really a convenient option. And there are also some other settings that we can use. For example, this little icon lets us reset the colors. So if we are a bit confused and we are trying to replicate an image but we can't seem to do it, we can simply reset and start again. The other two really interesting options are these ones, and you can, for example, enable the TD mode, so every slider will be put in TD mode, and you will simply use your mouse wheel to modify the TD value. Pay a lot of attention because you can also modify the values of the filaments you have in your library, so you can make a bit of a mess. It's better to use it when you are creating your mesh core with all the little signals, but it might not be ideal when using all the filaments that you have in your library. Finally, you can enable this ruler and it will show you the layer height near the number of the layer. This is useful if you want to create your G-code and you have Hueforge open, so you don't have to find the text file. Another really interesting option is right there, because frontlit and backlit were already there in previous versions, but not glow lit. For those who don't know, slicer view simply let us check the view of the slicer, the preview of the slicer, and it's convenient if you are not sure where a filament is been placed. But with glow lit we can now have a preview of how a glow in the dark Hueforge will look like. For example, I can drag my glow in the dark filament. I can edit the filament to add a glow, and I can also set the color of the glow, and once I do this it will show me how it will look with glow in the dark filament. This is super cool, and I've dedicated a video to Hueforge with glow in the dark filaments, so I will leave the link right there for you. As you have seen, you can edit the filament and add a secondary value. In fact, now we have the possibility to let Hueforge know if our filaments are glow in the dark, are neon, or color shifting. For example, dual colors are color shifting filaments for Hueforge. In fact, if I say that this is a color shifting filament, I can add a secondary color, and now when I use render lit, you will see that there's the secondary color right there. So it will show me a preview of how the filament will look like once it's printed. It's a really cool feature, and this unlocks a whole variety of possibilities with silk and matte filaments. In fact, Hueforge now recognize matte and silk filaments by the name. So matte filaments will be show opaque, while silk filaments will be show silk. The last thing I want to talk to you about this new version is the blend assistant. It is super useful because it will allow us to select a start filament, start color, and the final color that we want to reach. For example, let me grab a filament. I can put it right there and take a target color, for example this one, and Hueforge will let me know which filaments will take me from the first color to the target one. This is super cool if you have not a particular color, but you have no idea of how to reach it with the filaments that you have in your library. Also, a really cool feature for both experts and amateurs is that if we hover a layer, Hueforge will automatically highlight the area where this layer is, so we can have a better understanding of where a filament is being placed. It's a really convenient option and I really like it. So there are a lot of new features in this new version of Hueforge. So that's all I wanted to share with you about this new version of Hueforge. Let me know below in the comments if you have already tried it and if you like it. In the meantime, if you like this video, you can also like this one.